Hello, one and all, and welcome to my review for last night's episode of NXT. It's going to be my full thoughts and opinions on the December 9th edition of NXT, as we are only less than 1 week away from NXT TakeOver Live in London, and a show that I am looking very forward to watching and reviewing because you compare NXT TakeOver London, the build, the hype for it, the match card that we're going to be getting. It looks to be another quality installment in the fantastic NXT TakeOver specials. I have yet to watch one that has failed to disappoint me, and they're special. You look forward to them happening because we only get 4 to 5 a year. So when one comes around, it's like, I know where I got to be on December 16th at 3 p.m. I'm going to be watching that show. I'm going to get a full review from me. The less said about WWE TLC 2015, the better. That is a show that I am not looking forward to at all. Probably won't even watch it. Doesn't look like that too good of a card. That saying, every show going into it always has a level to exceed expectations, but that remains to be seen with TLC. So as of now, not really. We'll probably not be watching or reviewing that show. But with that out of the way, let's get into looking at what took place on last night's episode of NXT, which I thought was just, this is a fun show to sit through. If you're a fan of wrestling, you just want good storytelling, you want to be taken on a ride for 1 hour, watch this show. I cannot, state it, better. Hashtag is still better than Raw. That will be in the title of the video. So we kick things off, refreshing. You kick things off with a match because it's NXT and they do things differently. So we have Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy who make their way to the ring. No entrance. They play their music, but they're serious. They have business to attend to in the ring. They take on Corey Hollis and John Skyler. It was really just a way to show the aggressive side of Enzo and Big Cass, and they defeated their competition with a rocket launcher. And afterwards, they cut this really good heartfelt promo about their time in NXT and how they're really pissed off and they're going to be coming after those tag team titles against Dash and Dawson. And it really was a good promo. I like this serious side that they've been able to show. And it really made me look forward to seeing their upcoming tag title match at NXT TakeOver London. I think them versus Dash and Dawson should be a very good match and one that I'm looking forward to. Enzo mentioned how you took out Big Cass. Now we're ready, and now we're even more pissed off because you can't have one without the other. They're both in this for the long haul, and they were just really intense, really aggressive, and it shows. I wish we saw more of this on the main roster, but that remains to be seen. But a good way to start off NXT this week. Good promo. After this, we had our next match, which was Asuka taking on Deonna Purrazzo. If I'm pronouncing that correctly. It was a lot of counter after counter after counter. But it wasn't really about the match, more so as Dana Brooke and Emma got on the stage, and they were looking like, were they going to attack Asuka again? After what they did 2 weeks ago. However, Asuka was able to kick Deonna in the head, and this led to her being knocked out. So it was a way to show that Emma, this might be you at NXT TakeOver London, and a crowd was really behind Asuka. I like Asuka. She brings something different to the women's division for NXT, and I think her and Emma can have a really good match. So it's another match that I'm looking forward to on Sunday, and I really like the way that they built up to it. So I think those two should have a really good match. So I enjoyed this. Not so much the match, but, the story they were trying to tell. Then we had the Hype Bros taking on the team of Wesley Blake and Buddy Murphy. before the match. We got a couple backstage promos between, the interview of the Hype Bros, so they were ready, and they were just acting all crazy. They're just a fun team. I really like the pairing of Raleigh and Ryder. I feel like they really complement each other, and I feel together as a team, because they weren't really accomplishing much on their own. I feel like as a team, they have a better chance of achieving success, at least on NXT. I do not want to think what would happen to them if they got to the main roster. And then you had a nice promo cut backstage with Alexa Bliss, and it was kind of showing she was upset with Blake and Murphy for what happened in the six man mixed tag match several weeks ago against Bayley and the Hype Bros. So, the match here, it was good for what it was. I thought it was a fun, an average match. But, these guys, the crowd was behind the Hype Bros. And there was a couple times where I thought maybe Blake and Murphy would be able to get the win. However, Raleigh and Ryder were able to pick up the victory after they hit their Hype Rider finisher on Blake. And, it was just a fun, enjoyable tag match. Nothing more to be said. Then we had Bayley taking on Peyton Royce. And Bayley was able to get the victory on Peyton Royce after hitting the Bayley to belly. Bayley really sold a lot for Peyton Royce. Really helped to show how Bayley, even though it looks like she's down for the count, she's still that underdog. As champion, she will fight to the end. And all it will take is a Bayley to belly for her to get that victory. So it was an okay match. And then afterwards, Eva Marie and Nia Jax came on the ring, out on the stage, and the crowd was just booing Eva Marie unmercifully. I mean, she has nuclear heat. The crowd, even with her just showing up and not really doing or saying that much, they were livid. So Nia Jax got on the mic, and she said at NXT TakeOver London, that title will now be hers because Bayley doesn't know what she's getting into. And it's an interesting pairing having Eva Marie with Nia Jax. It would be, I could see Nia Jax definitely defeating Bayley for the NXT Women's Championship this Wednesday, I think. Due to the size difference and how dominant Nia Jax has looked since she has debuted on NXT, there's definitely a real possibility of a title change taking place. But I will get more into that in my NXT TakeOver London predictions video next week. But for what it was an okay segment to set up the match between Bayley and Nia Jax. And Bayley looked strong in the victory against Peyton Royce. And then we had our main event of the evening. It was Finn Balor and Apollo Crews taking on Baron Corbin and Samoa Joe. It was a fun way to close off this week's episode of NXT, putting together, two opponents, you have Crews and Corbin facing off against each other, and Joe and Balor, so it was a good way, to build further hype for those two upcoming matches than by having this tag team match. It was a fun main event. Joe looked really strong and dominant. He was able to get the victory after he locked in the Coquina clutch, and he made Balor pass out again. He was spitting out of his mouth. It was really gross and disgusting. So the heels got the victory, and it was a good way to put further heat upon Joe and Corbin heading into both of their matches. And like I said before, between Bayley and Nia Jax, I think Finn Balor has the opportunity to lose his title to Joe. There's a very good opportunity of that happening. I really like how Samoa Joe has just come off as this ruthless, arrogant heel that won't back down. He's not a coward. When he gets in there, he means business, and shit's gonna go down. So this was a fun match, a good way to close out what was a solid edition, another solid edition of NXT. I've really been enjoying the build leading into NXT TakeOver London, and it should be another fantastic show from the tradition of past NXT takeover specials. Overall, I'm going to give this week's episode a B minus. It was a really good show. I really enjoyed it from start to finish. Didn't really hit any speed bumps throughout the way. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the December 9th edition of NXT. Let me know down in the comments section what you guys thought of this week's episode of NXT. Please click that like and subscribe button for more video content. Be on the lookout next week for my NXT TakeOver London predictions video. Also, a special WWE year in review awards video. More to be announced later next week. And my review for NXT TakeOver London next Wednesday. The future is definitely now, and thank you all for watching. Peace.